Long Island Public Schools have a problem when it comes to teacher diversity. That, according to a new study by Hofstra University, which found that in a system where nearly half of all students are non-white, only 8% of their teachers are people of color. The study also found that in 2017, more than 60% of schools on Long Island did not have a single African-American teacher, and more than 40% had no Latino teachers. And while teacher diversity on Long Island has remained pretty much flat over the last decade, the minority student population, particularly Latino and Asian students, has surged. And joining us now to talk about the study is one of its authors, Larry Levy, Executive Dean at the National Center for Suburban Studies at Hofstra University. Larry, welcome back to the program.
Thanks for having me.
So, Larry, what led Hofstra to conduct this study, and what exactly did you study?
Well, we are really rooted in the community. We practice what we call community-based research, and that means not only asking permission of community groups and neighborhood organizations to come in and do studies, but to listen to what they think are the problems. And we have relations with groups like the Long Island Latino Teachers Association, the Long Island Black Educators Association, and they said this is becoming more and more of a problem, that we are getting more and more minority students, but the number of minority teachers isn't rising at all. And we decided, well, why don't we take a look at this? I was able to get a grant from a private foundation that really didn't want to get any credit for this. And I went to Bill Mangino, the chairman of the sociology department, who has a great history of educational equity research. And we made a little team and we went out there, and the numbers, I have to tell you, Rafi, I was at Newsday for 30 years. I've been at Hofstra for 10 years. I've been writing about these issues, particularly with educational policy and politics. And I was shocked by these numbers. I knew that there would be disparities, but to have in 60% of the building, 61% to be precise, not a single African-American teacher is beyond my imagination. And if we were writing about the Mississippi or the Alabama school systems, you'd say, well, all right, we all know Jim Crow is still alive and well. What did you expect? But this is the North, and somehow on issues of institutional and actual racism, we sometimes get a pass where southern states and other places would not. And it's kind of a chance to have a reckoning here and do right by kids and do right by potential teachers of color who are being denied the opportunity to get jobs, ironically, supported by their own tax dollars.
So besides those shocking numbers, quite frankly, what are some of the other key findings of the study?
Well, we were a little surprised by the extent of segregation within buildings. For example, one of the areas that we found some evidence of that needs much more research to vet completely is that even in districts where there's been an uptick of hiring of Latino teachers, they tend to be put into Spanish-speaking programs like English as a second language. Yeah. So they may be certified to teach math and English and have aspirations in those areas, but they're hired because they speak Spanish. One of the other things we found is, particularly with Latino teachers, is that they're in a building, they're doing their duties, the job that they're paid for, but because they're one of the only people in the building who speak Spanish, they're the ones who other teachers and administrators go to help translate when there's a Latino family, to help even intercede. And they're put in a position that they're the ones now responsible for the well-being. They are the go-to person for Latino students and families, and that's a tremendous amount of pressure to put on somebody.
Did you find out why this disparity, why this unbalance between the racial makeup of students and the racial makeup of their teachers?
Yeah, I hate to say, when I was a reporter, I hated when anybody said this to me. It's complicated. I mean, in the broader sense, districts have not made it enough of a priority to be aggressive and creative, imaginative enough to expand the pool of potential minority applicants. What we heard from, again, anecdotally from superintendents in white school districts was, hey, we put ads in the paper. There are services that provide resumes. We go to job fairs from time to time. But the hiring process is a personal one in school districts. So if you have a school that doesn't have any minority teachers, there's no teacher to recommend a friend. And I'm not saying a friend who isn't qualified, but or someone who they know from a social circle, because they don't live in this very, very segregated suburb with people of color, and they don't work with people of color. So where is that networking? Where is that social as well as educational foothold for minority teachers? It's very difficult. It is state policy, Rafi, that districts show that they're making an effort. There is even going to be state money that I hope as a result of this study is increased in this budget cycle to help districts that want to help themselves. But there are no consequences at this point. There's no loss, perhaps, of state aid, and of course there's no mandate.
So I know I'm probably asking you to go beyond the study, but I want to get your take.
Sure.
What is the effect of this unbalance among the students, both of color and white students?
Well, there is a tremendous body of academic research, which is in our report, with 120 footnotes, which I'm very proud of, being trained as a non-academic, that goes into all the serious research that's been done about the value of having diverse role models in the classroom. And this is not just so that black students have a black teacher and Latino students have a Latino teacher, but that white students are also exposed to diversity. Because we have tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of white students who never see a black teacher, who never see a Latino teacher. And they live in segregated communities where they rarely even see, except on television or in the newspaper, a black or Latino person. We also would like to expand our research into the Asian teacher corps. We did less of that other than statistically.
All right, Larry, we'll have to end it there. Thank you so much for joining us to talk about this very important study. Thank you.